is it telling me to rotate my device? Let's see if that works. Now we're going to have to pop out. Hello? Comments will appear here. Are you live? Let's see. Aha! We do have people. There we go. For some reason my camera is saying that I have to turn it sideways, and it always films like this, so I don't know what is going on today. So all y'all's comments are going to come this way instead of up from the bottom. Yes, Spunky's tail's in the middle of everything. And again, in the middle of everything. So let's see what we got going on here. Hi, Mary. Hi, Colleen. Hi, guys. Let's see. It's been a very interesting week in the crochet world. I'm kind of glad that we are not into patterns. There's been pattern thievery and all kinds of stuff going on that it's crazy. I don't understand people, but hi, Colleen. Hi, Rosa. I would like to start out by welcoming everybody. Thank you for joining us and welcoming and welcoming members into the group. We've had a lot of members pretty active lately, which has been absolutely fantastic. Hi, Susan. And so that's been great. What else do we have going on? There's, gosh, there's so many patterns that I'm playing around with. It's scary. I've gotten to a spot where I have more whips started than I'm ever to be able to finish, which is not usually me. Usually I might have a few going and one that maybe I started but I didn't finish because I didn't like something about it, so then I moved it around and tried a couple different things and then figured out how to work on it. I will be doing a tutorial on the corner to corner scarf that I did. There's been a lot of talk lately about corner to corner. I know that so many people were referring to Graphghans and patterns in corner to corner, and I think everybody has their own belief on what corner to corner is. I think corner to corner to me is just the direction you're working your pattern in, because there's so many corner to corner stitches you can use that corner to corner to me is just the direction you're working. You know, I just did the corner to corner scarf, and that was in Tunisian knit stitch. There's so much corner to corner. You can do pretty much anything corner to corner in just about any stitch. There's micro corner to corner, which is a single crochet. There's mini corner to corner, which is half double crochet. You can do, like I said, I'm doing the knit stitch. You can do it in TSS. Pretty much anything you can do. Let's see, what do we got going on here? Hi, Marguerite. Hi, Yvette. Susan, sorry I missed so many. I told you I'd be here tonight. I knew you'd make it. I feel like romper room. I see the little pictures on the side. I see Crystal and my grandchildren are watching, and it's so exciting. Everybody's here. Originally I started going live on Wednesdays because I thought that, you know, people would ask for help. We do have a great following and people watching, and we do seem to go for a long time going live because we have quite a few people that ask questions while we're here. I did want to say, please don't hesitate to ask anything in the group just because you're new and that, you know, well, it's probably been asked before. That's why I started a teaching group, because I don't care about answering it 1,000 times. Someone in the group will help you, or I will help you, or Angela will help you. There's always someone around to help. And I was approached again this week about putting everything on YouTube. And again, I've thought about it. And one day I may, but right now I like the fact that in the group I can answer questions. I do see so many YouTube channels that people ask questions and the questions sit there for quite a bit of time, years, and nothing's answered, and I find that very disheartening to those who do want help. You are sideways. Yes, I don't know how to fight with my camera today. This would be up and down, but my camera's fighting with me today. It says that it will not rotate for some reason. So, we'll just do it this way. But, again, I like the fact that we have the group and that stuff can get answered quicker here. And this is why I like going live, too. I find that a lot of the live is actually getting answered in quality time, and that, you know, people appreciate the fact that it's more one-on-one. You know, I still do live videos with people in Messenger as well. I've found that a lot of people still really like that and look for me and ask for help too. Corner to corner pattern to back to Tunisian. Turn portrait. Yeah, Crystal, I don't know how to do that right now. So, usually when I turn my phone, it adjusts for me. And today, it ain't doing that. So, I'm kind of excited because I will have my first pattern put in here. Hi, Lisa. I'm going to do a video on it as well so that there's the increases and the decreases will be easy to understand. And I think that will be nice. You're right side up now. I just turned the camera the other way. Easy fix. So, so yes, I'm kind of excited about coming out with my own pattern for the scarf. I'm going to release it exclusively in here. And knowing the crochet world, it will make it all over the place in a matter of time. Someone else will be making one up too. So where's everybody from? Do you guys have snow? Is the weather here where you are nice? I need to live vicariously through some of you because we have snow here in southwest PA. Hi, Sissy. Do we have questions about hooks? Do we have some newbies here tonight? Ask anything. Where's Angela? I think she had something to do this evening. She mentioned something about being out. Lisa says Michigan and it's freezing. Yeah, I don't know how I got put in Pennsylvania. I would love to to live on a beach. I'm one of those people that it could be 100 degrees outside, and I'm never complaining about how hot it is, because I'd rather have it hot. Right around the corner from you in Delaware. Oh, Colleen, I didn't know you were that close. Lisa says, I have a question and a newbie. Ask away, Lisa, and I will get it answered. Come to Florida, 52 degrees right here. Oh, and you said it was chilly. 52 degrees. California and raining. I think you guys needed the rain, didn't you? Mary Bailey says Indiana and cold. Oh, Australia. I've always wanted to go there. Their idea, it's funny when you see the people out in shorts at Christmas time. I'm like, yeah, that's where I want to be. He says, I'm with you. Hate the cold. Crystal says, Bella said, hi, Nana. Hi, Bella. Carletta, cold in Missouri. We get 16 inches of snow last week. Oh, no. I'm not ready for the snow. I don't like driving in it. It makes me very uncomfortable. I have a rear-wheel drive car, and I live on a hill, so when we get snow, I'm pretty much homebound. It's chilly for Florida, said Bobby. I have tried this new... Lisa says, I have tried... This is new to me, and I am determined to learn, but I am finding it very difficult and awkward holding the hook. What can I do differently? I actually do have a video on how I hold my hook. It does take a minute to get used to, especially, and I've noticed because a lot of people, when you're used to holding a crochet hook, especially those that have the pencil hold are the ones that seem like they have the most trouble. When I hold my hook, I hold it overhand, and you're going to pick up your stitches and you're going to slide them down, so the knife hold is the best for most people that I do teach. I do teach locally, and I have a few lefties in my group, so I actually have taken a few mirrors in for them to hold the camera up to, so that they're actually getting a left-hand tutorial. So that does help. It's going to take a little bit, and I found too, especially when I first started, the first set of Tunisian hooks I bought was the fixed ones, and let me see. The fixed ones, when you have the fixed hook, you're putting your stitches on, and these metal ones, they're nice if you're going to do something like a panel, a pillow, or something like that, but they do get heavy very easily when you've got your work on there, which is why I really do like the Knitter's Pride, because they're a lightweight, a laminated birch. They're heavier duty wood-wise than the bamboo. I've noticed a lot of climates and areas that have high humidity. The bamboo ones, you have to store them exactly flat or they will warp. I've had that happen to a set of mine. So yeah, Lisa, holding your hook is going to take a few to get used to. I know, especially for me, like I've played around with knitting and I can't knit to save my soul. I'm trying, but when I've got to hold that needle in my left hand, it's very awkward. I'm sure it's going to take me a little while to get used to it, and especially depending on your hold. Do you have the knife hold or do you hold the pencil hold? Out of curiosity. Rosa said it's hot here in Melbourne. Susan says Toledo, Ohio, no snow but very cold. Hi, Mary Smith. What else do we have? He says, I've been crocheting 30 years, so converting was to this long hook. I don't like when the camera does this. There we go. Was causing me to drink. It does take a while to get used to. I remember the first pillow I did. I followed the YouTube tutorial with color changes and things, and it was very awkward. My wrist was so sore after the first two projects I did. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm finding muscles I didn't even know I had. And yeah, I think a lot of our crochet projects can drive us to drink. I think every one of us has a story about how we had a drink or two and tried to make something, and the next day we were frogging what we made. Lisa said the pencil. I think that's the hardest, you know, because with the pencil grip you're more, you know, almost like a chopstick. And with the Tunisian, you need this overhand kind of, so it's going to take a little practice because, and I find that holding it this way when you're picking up the stitches, it's that with sliding them down, it's very difficult to change when you're used to holding the hook a certain way or doing things a certain way. I've had to learn to do a couple things different because I've had shoulder surgery, and it can be very frustrating in the beginning, learning how to do all of that. So, I'm laughing at her comment about causing us to drink. Sigh. I gotta buy more wine. Yes, I made wine. I had blueberries, and they were in Chambord, and I froze them and with some wine, and so that's what I got in my glasses. Wine and blueberries, and it's very good. Debbie. Look great on 50-inch TV. Was snowing this morning here in western PA. So pretty. Practicing tension control and watching you. Every time you guys say that you put me on the TV, I don't know why, but it makes me laugh. I just don't think of myself being on the TV. So yeah, it makes me chuckle. Somebody actually screenshot and sent me a thing and was like, look, you're on my big screen TV, and I was like, oh my goodness. I don't know, maybe I'm very humble. I honestly thought in this group within a year that I would maybe have 500 members. I never imagined I would have 6,000 members in a year, you know, and Angela and I make such a fantastic team. You know, we've been doing this together since the beginning, so it's nice. It's really nice. Bobby says I'm a star. I don't think I will ever think of myself as a star or popular. You know, it still kind of makes me smile or blush when I see that, you know, somebody's tagged me in another group. Oh, I use Jessica's methods, or, you know, they'll tag my name. And, yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna see myself as a big face of crochet, but I love teaching, and that's what brought me to do this, you know, and I don't think a lot of members realize when I get up in the morning how many messages I have and things that I answer even before I get into the group. But I love it. I got into this because I wanted to teach, and I was frustrated with a lot of the ways that I had seen stuff done, and I had a lot of questions at some of the craft shows, and, you know, people would look at the back of my work and say, you know, oh, what did you do? This isn't what mine looks like. So I thought, oh, I'll start a group and have a few people, and I'll teach, and it'll catch on in a few years. And it's definitely grown a lot faster than I thought it was going to. But I do love it. Sissy says I am the bomb when it comes to Tunisian crochet. Thank you very much, Sissy. Judy says it's 20 degrees here in North Dakota, but feels like 4 with a wind chill. Yeah, that cold weather, I don't like it. Not one bit. Although, you know what, the snow and the ice is what scares me. My husband drives truck for a living. He drives a big flatbed, so there's tarping and strapping and chains, and I think that it's completely scary because they're so big and they're so heavy, and since he started driving, you realize how close people follow them, and yeah, it's very scary. I worry about him out there. So, do we have any questions about hooks, yarn? Gosh, there's some great patterns really going around. Colleen, her group has stockings, and they're plaid, and I was looking into those, and I absolutely love them, and I've been playing around with them in Tunisian, and I really like how they're coming out. The one I'm doing right now is all one solid color just because I wanted to get the increases down, and I've been playing around with the increases too. I think that I'm going to be using the same increases that I used for the scarf that I did, and let me see, I don't know if I have it up here. Draven, yeah. Go down in the living room real quick and grab that bag with the scarf in it. Bring it up. Where's it at? Right next to the couch. Thank you. My son's going to bring my scarf up. I was working on it in the living room. I think it came out really nice. I used the Bernat velvet, and I really like how soft it is. I did make it a bit wider, only because this is the way that the girl wanted it done. Excuse my son burping in the background. You can tell I have a teenager. But, I have a ton of tails to weave in, and I do because of, I have not gotten the video up of how I weave my tails in on my return pass, and since I was making this pattern up as I went along, the Bernat velvet is not the type of yarn that I think would really tangle as you frog it. It's not as difficult to frog as some of the other yarns that I've worked with. But I was afraid that when I worked with it, if I got into a situation and I needed to frog too much of it, I didn't want to have to break the yarn because it does not have a lot of give to it. It's pretty, non-stretchy. So on the back where I added my colors, and I have a tail for each color change, only because I did not work over them. I was afraid, like I said, I was just doing this pattern as it comes along. But with that being said, after the tails are all woven in, like I said, it's nice and wide. She wanted it that way so that she could fold it over. So this is a good, like, probably 12 to 14 inches wide. And this used 2 skeins, one of the gray and one of the black, and she wants a headband now. So I will be doing that in corner to corner and then adding that so that it's, you know, as it goes around, it has the diagonal design as well. So I think that it came out really good. I really like it. I will be writing up the pattern here and releasing it exclusively into our group. Judy, good Afghan motivation. Yes, this cold weather is too cold. Debbie said, how did the Tunisian scarf finally turn out? I had someone ask if I could make her one. I said, I just started learning the stitch. Yes, this one came out really good. I have, you know, people are talking about graft scarves too. We just had a member join, and she was stating how you cannot do a graft scarf because on the inside it looks hideous from the color changes. And I was like, well, you know, if you're doing the color changes on YouTube, then the backside does get to be kind of ugly, but we do ours here and do the color changes a little bit differently. And if she'd like to come over, and it takes a little bit of practice with your tension, but I think it gives a fantastic back. And a lot of people do say that they love it too. So Colleen says, oh, I'm too kind. Colleen, you do fantastic grafts. I've seen a lot of them. I'm trying to get the Christmas stuff that I have that's orders done. I have a Tunisian Graphghan bobble stitch, puff stitch. I haven't exactly figured out. I played around with so many stitches to figure it out that I now have what I'm doing figured out, but I'm going to have to look up and see the difference between the bobble stitch and the puff stitch, so that I can properly call it what it is when I do the video tutorial. You know, I think that that's one thing that's very frustrating, is finding a tutorial and having the stitch not called what it actually is, so then you can't look it up and you can't find it. Or I have a lot of people doing the Tunisian smock stitch, and the video for that, they're basically crocheting 2 together, and the original smock stitch that's been taught for years is actually purled together. So when people find the videos on YouTube of the smock stitch that's purled together, and then they watch the other one where the stitches are not purled together, they get very confused, and they come and ask me for help. I don't know how the I mean, the smock stitch that they have that's not purled together, it's very pretty. I don't know why it wasn't referred to as an alternative smock stitch or a modified smock stitch, but you know, it does get very confusing, and that's why when I make this video of the bobble stitch or what stitch I'm using, I would like to make sure I know whether it's the puff stitch or the actual bobble stitch. Daisy Montoya. Coupons for yarn. I'm always using coupons for yarn. Bobby says, I want to try one of Colleen's stockings in TSS. I do too. I'm working with one now, and actually with the way that the increases and stuff are, I'm actually starting with a toe, because the increases to me are a little bit easier than the decreases are. So yeah, I'm playing around with the one color. I'm hoping to have the, what do they even call that? Buffalo plaid um, down. You know, it's easy when you do just the buffalo plaid, but with the increases and decreases, I want it to be perfect because I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to doing things like that. Mary Bailey says she loves that. This is so, I love this, and she has a jacket, the customer has a jacket that has this, it's almost like a silver, and it changes, you know, in the light, and she wanted something that she could wrap up around her mouth if she needed to, or fold in half and get the double thickness, and that's why I went with as wide as I did, because even with this double thickness, you know, it's still a nice, it's very nice and thick. But yeah, I think I will be getting the pattern wrote up here really, really soon. Hi, Karen. Hi, Colin. Bobby says it's beautiful. Karen says howdy, Jess. Judy, over the shoulders, so very warm. Love it. I do like it for that. I actually was chilly the other day, so I had it down over my shoulders and my back a little bit while I was finishing up the edge on it. So yeah, I've got to work on the tails this week, but I have a blanket order that I'm feverishly working on. It's not due till the beginning of January. So I'm hoping by January that I will have the pattern at least written out, and then I can start filming the videos for the increases that I used in here. I used like a full stitch increase, and I would like to get a video into the group too where I talk about our crocheting over your ends on your forward and return pass, because if I would have done that, then I would not have so many tails. But like I said, coming up with a pattern, I was afraid that if I needed to rip it out, or, you know, I actually started the pattern and then had her come over and check it to make sure it was going to be what she wanted and the width that she wanted. Colleen, yes, bobble, puff, and cluster always gets me mixed up. Yeah, the one I'm doing in Tunisian is I'm going under the TSS stitch and pulling up like you would to do a regular TSS, but then you're yarning over and then going back under and yarning over and going back under and yarning over, so that you're all told you have, I think it's 7 loops on your hook from yarning over and going under, and then your original loop that you started with. So really you're yarning over and going under the 3 times after you've already initially made the TSS, and then you pull through all of that, and then you yarn over and pull through to close it, kind of like a bean stitch. So yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up. They all, I watched so many videos and tried so many, and I would set it down and come back and look at it and be like, you know what, I don't like this. I just can't give this to the customer looking like that. Lisa said, love Colleen graphs, they're amazing. Jessica, that scarf is awesome. Thank you. Like I said, this was 2 skeins of Bernat velvet. I will be writing the pattern up here pretty soon. I got to get with Angela for that, and we're going to have it wrote up. It is very nice. Thank you very much, Rosa. Yeah, I do like how it come out. She wanted something that had the diagonal stripes on it, and originally I thought, oh, you know, something that's graphed. And when I chained across and then started the graph, I was like, you know what, I didn't like that. I didn't like how the, you know, with Tunisian, or even the Tunisian knit stitch, your stitches are running vertical, and this way, if you can see them, they're running diagonally, and that's, you know, I know it's super hard to see with this, but, you know, the Tunisian knit stitch, it's run diagonally, and I really like that. And the thing I like of too is even though I have all these tails that need to be woven in, on the back, the pearls, they're run diagonally too, so I think that, you know, it's going to look pretty. I think we all have those friends that put something that's crocheted on or do something and you're like, oh my goodness, that's inside out, or it's, you know, and they don't know, and my customers kind of like that. So with this being reversible, I think that, you know, it just adds to the beauty of this, because you can't go out into public and have somebody say, you've got that on backwards or inside out. This is going to look great from both ways, so that's one of the reasons I really like it too. Thank you, Susan. Like I said, I will be getting the scarf wrote up, and I'm going to be offering it to the group for free. Nothing we do in here is paid. So, yeah. Hi, Lisa. So, yeah, that's all the exciting stuff that's going on here, is that I'm playing around with the bobble puff stitch, and it's due in January, so I'm feverishly working on that, because it's, I think, like, I want to say 240 rows. So even though every other row is just the Tunisian simple stitch across, you still are changing colors, because I'm doing the blocks all in one, and this pattern was not designed all in one. It was designed so that you did the separate bobble stitch words, or popcorn words, whatever, and then you stitched them all together. But I don't like sewing things together, so I'm taking the pattern and actually doing it all out in one. So I hope it's going to work out. It will. The pattern that I bought, part of it has 80, what was it? I think 81 bobbles across, and then there's a few rows that have 82 bobbles, so the math doesn't add up, and since I took drafting, I taped everything together and realized that, you know, it doesn't all add up. So then I needed to take that and figure out where I was going to drop a bobble so that it still has great symmetry, but it's not taking away from the design. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Shirley. Boy, we got all kinds of people on this evening. So yeah, that's what's going on in the Tunisian crochet world. And like I said, I'm hoping by January 15th I should have not only this pattern up for the scarf, but the video tutorials that are going to go along with it. You know, I think that the increases are going to be super important. Once you get the hang of them, they're super, super easy. And then the decreases that you're going to have to do, they're super, super easy. So I think that this is going to be fantastic. And like I said, this yarn works up. It's so soft. It is so, so soft. So, yeah. So do we have any questions about hooks or techniques, tips? I'm always open to learn tips too. I don't know everything. And yeah, I will be doing a headband. She wants a headband to go along with it, so I'm going to have to change how thick my stripes are. I think these are 14 rows. So I'll be changing that so that the headband's not, you know, it's got the diagonal lines, but they're not so thick that you lose it, because the headband's smaller, so I'm going to have to scale it down a bit to still get the design. Colleen says, so soft looking, I want to snuggle with it. I've caught myself while I was making this, and I had it draped around my shoulders wanting to fall asleep because it is so warm and it's so chilly up here in Pennsylvania. And it was in between the heater kicking on. I was like, oh, I'm getting a little chilly. Yeah, so this yarn, I'm really liking it. I was asked to do another pattern, and it's not due till this spring. A friend of mine is having a baby, and she wants the blanket done in this yarn, in that beachy wave pattern that's really popular. So I'm going to be doing one of those and putting it into the group as well. Lisa says, how hard is it to do the hat with designed in the round with the double-ended hook? I've played around with the double-ended hook, and the hat, I started it. I'm terrible when it comes to hats because I don't wear them. I'm not a hat person. They're not that hard to do, but interestingly enough, there is it's not called a live loop. I'm going to have to look the video up and share it in our group, because it's not really related to Graphghans, but it's related to Tunisian, so I will share it here. There's a lady that only has the one-ended hooks and the cable. So she's actually casting on her stitches, and then for like half the hat, and then she pushes them down onto the cable, and then she's casting on the rest of the half of the hat. So since those other ones are down on the cable and it's bent, you need a longer cable so that it can accommodate the bend, which is another reason I like the Knitter's Pride hooks, because those vinyl cables or nylon, whatever they are, they will bend nicely, where you're going to need to use a longer one for the Denise set, because they don't bend, they don't have as much bend and give to them. But I can't remember what she's calling it. It's not called a live loop. It's a knitting term, and basically what she's doing is she's going through the last stitch and casting on a loop, and then when she casts off, you end up where you started. It's a knitting term. I'm sure that Robin or Colleen may be familiar with it. I'm not sure if she knits or not, but I will get the video and share it with our group. But the hats, I don't think they're going to be that hard to do in the round with the double-ended. They're not that hard to do. So I think you all will definitely be able to do them. There's a few videos going around on YouTube that do show. A lot of them are work from the bottom up. There is a color change video, and I don't really promote people. Not that I want kickbacks or anything, but you know, everybody has differences of opinion. Excuse me, and but there is a color change video. Let me grab it. That I did purchase, and I honestly have watched this video a couple times, and there is such a vast amount of information in this video that Angela and I have both watched this video, but they have 2-color Tunisian crochet in the round, and this video is, I think, around $20. That you can get the CD, or I think you can digitally download it too. I wanted the CD so that I could watch it over and over again in case something happened to my phone or something crashed. But this is Lily Chin, and this is what the video looks like. And I can post a picture of it in the group too. This video has such a vast amount of knowledge, especially because those hats are becoming so popular And I think a lot of them are using this method for the color change, and what it's doing is, let me see, here's the picture on the inside. There's a cowl, and this is literally just 2 colors of yarn. And this, I think, would be fantastic for those hats. And I know it's hard to see, but the stitches are worked up. So this is actually being worked in the round, and I think that's what a lot of people are ultimately using for the hats, that are designing the hats and actually doing them. Lisa said, goodness, I didn't think about just using my Knitter's Prize hooks to do in the round. I did order 2 sets so that I could do stuff in the round, so that I could have the double end. But I will, it's probably going to take me a day or 2, Lisa, but I will get that video up in the group that I watched. And it's not called a live loop, it's called something else, and I am not a knitter. Hi, Geraldine. Hi, Angela. Nice to see you. But yeah, the this video, like I said, Angela and I both have it, and I have watched it, and I think every time I watch it, there's something new on it that I'm learning. So I do think that it's a great investment. I don't promote a lot of stuff, but this is something that I do believe has a great potential. And I think that, like you said, Lisa, those hats are really popular, and I do believe that that is fantastic. So yeah, I will find that one video that talks about the live loop, or the, like I said, it's a knitter's term for the sake of me. It's escaping me. Um, but basically, it's working so that you can kind of work in the spiral, and when you cast off, you're still connecting the beginning two together with this knitter's loop. So I think it's great. And this video too teaches this color method, and pretty much it's the Tunisian knit stitch and a Tunisian reverse stitch. So I think those would be 2 stitches to get yourself comfortable doing, and those would help. Hello, I am home. Are you going to join us? You can join me this evening. I have wine. But yeah, I'm not very good with the computer, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the pattern up, and Angela and I are going to get together, and Angela and I are going to get she's going to put it in a PDF for me, so I think that will be fantastic. I did have a question for those out there. I've gone to the local yarn stores and things like that, but I've not really ordered a lot of yarn online. So, hi, Paige. One of the things that I was interested in is there's a lot of patterns that are using DK weight yarn, or the sport weight yarn. It's really thin. And let's see if I can, I don't think it's going to let me change this, of course. Nope. Now it's telling me my connection's failed. Add. Are you there? All of this stuff is so new to me. Rotate your device. It's still telling me I can't rotate my phone. Oh my. It's saying the connection failed. Maybe she's having terrible weather too. I know we're getting a touch of snow moving through here, which is a giant pain in the backside. Add. I don't know what's going on here. Oh my. Anyway, yeah, the idea is to get the scarf pattern into the group come the new year. The new videos are going to be in there. I am high. Love Crochet is where I buy mine. Paintbox Simply DK is my favorite. How soft is that, Debbie? I love every inch that falls. You can keep it. Yeah, I'm not a snow. Is the paint box, is it really soft? I've been asked to do a few things and I need something that's DK weight. And that's going to be the hardest, is because my local craft stores, they don't have a large selection, and I have to drive 30 minutes just to even get to a yarn store. And I do have Joann's that's closer, but their yarn selection is terrible. So that's going to be different. It's difficult to buy anything from there. I even went to buy Look at Sock Yarn, and they literally had one skein of variegated, and that was it. Mary says she hates the snow and the cold. Yes, so do I. I absolutely don't like it either. So yeah, we were talking about the scarf, and like I said, hi Kim. I do like about this scarf is, like I said, it's, even though I've got the ends, I will show how to go over those on your forward and your return pass. And like I said, even the back of this, these pearls, they're nice. And on the front, the knit stitch, and it runs diagonally, so I really like that. So it's even reversible. So because I see a lot of people will wear something out and someone will say, that's single crochet or that's half double crochet, and they've got it on inside out or backwards. So yeah. So do we have other questions about any of the techniques? Anything going on around local stuff that's going on? I just said, goodness, I'm sorry, I've been waiting on the page. Am I not on the page? Yes, there's so many new patterns, you know, and that's the thing. Tunisian is so new. Yeah, it's been around since the, you know, it's been a while, around for a while, but not as long as crochet. And so I think a lot of people are coming out with new things and new ideas and new designs and new patterns, and there's just such a vast amount of knowledge out there that can be gotten and shared, and I think that's what makes Tunisian so exciting right now. Um, so, like I said, the hats are the big rage now. There's a few other patterns that I've seen floating around that are completely amazing. Robin has some fantastic ideas floating around. Um, you have to refresh. I don't know how to do that. I got all these buttons and I don't know what any of it does. What's this one? What is that? That brightens it. The other one turns my camera around. I've got so much on there. The page. I'm off tonight. Linda, I was excited because I'm off tonight. It's great to join you all. Well, thank you for joining us. Oh, hi, Robin. There you are. I know. I've seen you were running today. We were talking about that Tunisian has so many new things coming about. You know, the hats that are out, that are done in the round. And I talked about the investment. This Lily Chin video is fantastic. It talks about the two-color Tunisian crochet in the round where she does color changes, so I think that's fantastic. I've watched the video about 4 or 5 times, and every time I watch it there's something new. I don't know how to refresh. Come on. My kitty cat is very sad. He got evicted from the room. So, yes, Linda, I did see that the Grinch corner to corner pattern was taken down for the scarf. And no, she was not selling it. It was a free pattern. So I'm not exactly sure what happened. I don't know. So I found that pretty interesting. Hi, Yogi. DK Colors have some awesome color changes working with the Rose Garden at the moment. Oh, that does sound pretty. Yeah, I need something that's more lightweight, and unfortunately, like, if you go for local yarn at a lot of the places, the sports weight yarn is what's considered baby weight, and you cannot get, you know, they have a lot of pastel colors, which are fantastic for babies, but I wanted something lighter weight, but you really can't get, like, blacks or some of the darker colors for babies. I mean, I understand why, but yeah. Hi, Yogi. Yeah, so like I said, Angela and I will be getting the this pattern up and the video up for the color change, or for the increases and decreases and how that's going to work. And what else? I will find that video and get that up for the group that has the hat in the round that has that knitting. There's a certain knitting. I don't knit, so, but it's a knitting loop, and you kind of cast it over when you cast off in Tunisian, and or in knitting, and it will help you work in the round. What else do we got going on? We're going to be finishing up some of the cows in here. Our beginner stuff is going to stay up. Debbie says, I also like Karen Simply Soft. To me, I do like Karen Simply Soft. Paint Box has 50-ish colors. Yeah, I'm kind of looking into that. Hi, Carmel. Yeah, I'm kind of looking into that too. I want something soft that's wearable. And it's soft, lightweight. Yeah, like I said, with the hats, and there's so many fantastic ideas coming out. And I was very saddened to hear that, you know, there's some pattern thievery going on, and I mean, I think that goes along with all of this. You know, people work hard on their patterns, so I don't think that it's fair that some people just don't have an original idea of their own, and I find that very unfortunate. But unfortunately, you know, it just ruins it for the people that do want to learn and are honest. And I think there's a bad egg no matter where you go or what you do. So do we have any questions about the scarf or the hooks? Other questions about yarn? Like I said, I posted a picture of the blanket that I'm working on today. I just need to figure out what exactly the stitch is. Because the bobble stitch, the puff stitch, and, you know, they're all so close together. And I want to make sure that I have the right name for the stitch when I'm giving the tutorial. I have been looking into, there's a Tunisian in the round, and it started in a circle, but kind of like a granny square, like a solid granny square. When you get to the edges, you're going to make your increases, and it's going to get wider and bigger, so it's going to end up square. But when you're done, you kind of crochet the arms together, so it's almost like a granny shrug. And I think that it's going to be fantastic. It's got the two-tone color changes that I was talking about that Lily Chin does. So I think that's going to be interesting. I do need, I believe it's an M hook for the pattern that I'm looking at, so I ordered 2 of those and got those in. Linda says, when you take an order, like example, my Tunisian blanket sweater, what's a reasonable time to take to fill the order? Mind you, I'm not very fast. Goodness, Linda, that's a hard question. I think, personally, with my own stuff, I know about how long it takes me to crochet a row for Graphghan or something that's larger like that. I mean, I'm sure you have armholes and things like that that you're doing in that sweater. Um, and I usually estimate that. Like, for instance, on my Graphghans, I can usually do 10 rows a day. And it usually takes me about a half an hour to do a row on something that's a bit larger, that's comparable to a throw or a twin size. So with that being said, and I know how many hours a day I can work on it, so that's the big thing. And also another thing is having family or children or grandchildren, they get sick and things come up, or you have a doctor's appointment or whatever, you know, and you never know. Like, for instance, you may go to a doctor's appointment for a regular checkup, and the next day they may have you in for blood work. So I always make sure that I add about 2 weeks extra, just because, especially something I'm going to be working on for 2 months. You know, even if you're doing 10 rows a day on a Graphghan, and you're working on it Monday through Friday, and it's 240 rows, you know, that's 24 days of working on this Graphghan at 10 rows a day. And if you can't work on it for a week over this 24 days, then at least that gives you more time. So, you know, I would figure out how long it takes you to do a row and how much time you have to work on it. You know, it depends on whether you have a full-time job, a part-time job. Do you have little ones running around that you can only work on it when they take a nap? Are you only able to work on it in the evening while you're at work? Do you, you know, there's a lot of things that go into it. So I think that's, you know, that's a big thing. Personally, I know that, you know, the way that my schedule is, that in the morning after I get the things done I need to do, I try to schedule all my appointments or anything I have to do in the morning, and, you know, come home and wash up the dishes and straighten the house up and run the vacuum cleaner, make the beds, strip the beds, get laundry and whatever it is that day that I'm doing. And then I can sit down for like 5 hours and work on a Graphghan. And, you know, if I'm having a bad day or it's got a lot of color changes or whatever in, then that makes a big difference too on what you're going to be able to get accomplished. The one Graphghan I did, I had 110 color changes a row for like 70 rows. You know, something like that, that you have a color change like every 3 or 4 stitches, can take an hour to do a row. And, you know, so that part I know that I added more, because if you have to frog 120 bobbins and then you got to go back and do it over again and do that whole row over again, you know, you've got 2 hours invested in doing the same row. So there's a lot of things that go into, you know, doing all of that. Angie said, Tunisian in the round sounds like fun. It is. I primarily, our group pretty much sticks to Graphghans, but, you know, again, I want to reiterate, those hats in the round are becoming extremely popular, and I love the fact that if you can do the two-tone effect in the round, graft ideas are going to work in that, especially around the whole hat, you know, because you won't have a seam, and you're carrying that yarn along using the Tunisian knit stitch or the Tunisian reverse stitch, or, you know, depending on whether you're doing it with a double-ended hook or you're doing it with a single-ended hook and that knitter's loop that I will find the video for. I'm terrible at knitting. So, Linda says, very true. Awesome, thank you so very much. Makes so much sense. I'm scrambling trying to get it done in a few days and find the stress of it was getting to me. I do find that once I started doing orders, the pressure of crocheting, it doesn't become as much fun. So I literally. I told a few people that I was taking next year off, and one of them is having a baby, and another one of them is having a set of twins, and they already had approached me about an order. So when I had told a few people that I was not taking orders, they immediately messaged me, "Oh my God, I heard you're not taking orders. What am I going to do? I thought you were going to..." So I had to go and clarify that, yes, I will be doing what they need done. But other than that, next year I think I'm taking off from doing orders. So that's going to be good. Angela, the video teaches to decreases and increases. There's a video that's going around about the hats in the round, and she's talking about doing a hat in the round, but you only have the single-ended hooks like we have, like the Knitter's Pride, and there's a special loop when you go to cast off, you do, and it will help you so that you can still work in the round without having a double-ended hook. It's amazing. I will definitely have to find it and get it shared. Yogi says, what would you recommend using in regards to yarn? I really don't like Red Heart Super Saver. I find it to be rough. Okay, well, here's what I found out about Red Heart. Has like a stiffener on their yarn so it doesn't split, and when you wash it, it softens up. That's a downfall for a lot of people. A lot of people buy Red Heart because of the selection of where they live, and the price. Personally, since I do Graphghans, and a lot of things that are graphed from, pillows, things like that, I will give my customer 2 quotes. I will quote them a Red Heart yarn price, and then I will quote them, and I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby. Their yarn is so soft. I really do like it. I know it's a little bit more expensive, and especially because in the last year, it used to be like $3.99 a skein, and it went up to $4.99 a skein. So I do try to go in and buy my yarn when they have their 30% off sale, and be as frugal as possible. But I do like how soft it is. Hobby Lobby also has another yarn, and I don't have it right in front of me. Yes, I do. Hold on. They have Crafter's Secret. Crafter's Secret is a little less expensive than the I Love This Yarn. I am working with it in several different colors for the Bobble Stitch Graphghan, and I am finding that it's a little scratchy like the Red Heart yarn. It's not as bad, but it is cheaper. So, I mean, if I had to go and say, oh, I'm going to make a Graphghan for myself or a blanket for myself, what yarn would I use? I would use the I Love This Yarn. For my scarves, if I have to do a graph scarf and it's something that somebody's going to be wearing year-round, I do like Hobby Lobby's I Love This Cotton. And, what else? But yeah, my favorite is that I Love This Yarn. And I really am liking the Bernat Velvet for the, like I said, I did this scarf, and I've got ends to weave in and stuff to do. Red Heart Super Saver has a coating on it during manufacturing. It helps to lessen the splitting while working with it and softens after washing. Yes. Hi, Enos. I love this yarn and Yarn Bee. Yes, they are great yarns. Haven't used the craft bees. Or what did I have? Crafter's Secret. Yeah, it's still soft, but it's kind of a little rougher than I would like. So, Angela posted the video for Lily Chin for her thing. Colleen says, I love this yarn, or Stitch Studio. I've not tried Stitch Studio. That might be a nice yarn. There was one that somebody was really liking from AC Moore, but I don't have an AC Moore by me, so can't try it. Robin says, Mary Maxim Starlet is soft and about as thick as I love this yarn. Yeah, I think I'm going to go online and order a couple skeins of different things just to try them out. Thank you. I'll try Hobby Lobby. I use a lot of yarn from Mexico because that's what I sell. And also because of the types of garments people ask me to make. Yeah, yarn is, it's one of them things that it depends on where you live, what stores are around you, what country you're from. I mean, it makes such a big difference. Robin said, I told you the other day how much I have. Yes, she owns her own yarn store. Karen says, Karen yarn better be good. Just ordered almost $55 worth to do a Graphghan I want to do. I have ordered the Karen 1 pound, and I have actually purchased the Karen 1 pound and used it on a few of the Graphghans I've done, and I do like it. I do like it better than the Red Heart. Ina says she loves Karen. Robin says she loves Karen also. And Linda says she's going to log off for the night. Her granddaughter's got surgery in the morning. Robin says over 30,000 in yarns. I stocked up, yeah, last year. You stocked up, all right. You got your own store. All right, do we have any more questions for the evening? Because my phone is deciding to not charge properly this evening, and it's kind of dying. So, if we don't have any more questions, we will be going live next week, Wednesday. I will have my camera thing figured out by then. And Angela will be joining us next week. So, get all your questions together, write them all down, post them in the group. I'm thinking maybe I might even do, since a lot of people can't join us, I'm thinking maybe we could do a post where people ask their questions and then we answer them on the live video, and then that way they can go in under our live folder and watch it and get their answers too. That would be, I think that would be nice, a nice thing to add too. Susan says she tends to use Karen Simply Soft a lot. I love this yarn too, but Hobby Lobby isn't as convenient to get to. Mary said she enjoyed the live show. Alright guys, can put corner to corner into Tunisian. Actually, yes, you can put corner to corner into Tunisian. If you do have a corner to corner pattern, we did talk about this before. Corner to corner has broken lines. We do have a post on broken lines. And what it is when you have a graph, you should be able to take a pencil and go around the outline of it and only be able to go vertically or horizontally. If your lines are connected diagonally, that is considered a broken line and it is not going to look good. So any of the corner to corner graphs that I have had to use, I actually will double those. Because if I do a mini corner to corner, they're half inch blocks for me. And if I do 2 Tunisian simple stitches and 2 rows, that's a 1/2 inch as well. So if I double the blocks wide and tall, then it comes out perfectly that way. But, you know, again, corner to corner, if it's a corner to corner pattern that was designed for corner to corner, if you double it, it'll work in Tunisian. But again, like I said when I started, the corner to corner to me is more the direction you're going. This is actually corner to corner. It was done in Tunisian knit stitch from corner to corner. It's more the direction you're going than the actual stitch, because you can do corner to corner in any stitch. Ina says, sorry she was late. Yogi says, have a good night, Jessica. Ina says, good night. And Rosa said, cool. All right, ladies, you have a fantastic evening, and I will see you the same place, same time next week. Bye, guys. Have a fantastic evening. Love y'all.